East Asian countries such as Korea, China, and Japan all have a rich history and culture which have long been of interest to viewers all across the world. These countries are renowned for making some of the most epic historical dramas and war movies ever created, with dozens of historical movies being released from these regions each year. But this huge number of historical films also means there is a lot of B-grade and poorly made films available in the market as well. And that's why I have created my list of the top 10 historical Asian movies of all time. So that way you can filter out all the dud movies and find an excellent Asian historical film faster than ever before. At number 10 we have the 1954 classic samurai drama film The Seven Samurai, which takes place in 1586 during the Sengoku period of Japanese history. This film follows the story of a village of farmers that hire 7 ronin, masterless samurai, to combat against a large group of local bandits who return every year after the harvest and steal all their crops. The Seven Samurai is one of Japan's most beloved films, and it has been the blueprint of many remakes since its release. But as many critics are quick to point out, none of these remakes can hold a candle to the original film, as the acting, sword fighting, and cinematography for this film is still some of the best in class to this day. This film may not have all the latest technology and CGI upgrades from modern era films, but The Seven Samurai is still an enjoyable movie to watch and one that should definitely be added to your must-watch list. At number 9 it is Mongol, The Rise of Genghis Khan, a film which depicts the life of Genghis Khan from his difficult and poverty-stricken childhood to the start of his rise to power and the unification of all the great tribes of Mongolia. Genghis Khan's childhood and early years had a huge impact on his life, and it taught him to be resilient, fearless, and single-minded in the pursuit of his ambitions and desire for revenge. Mongol is a film with fantastic acting which really does tell the complex life of Temujin in a real and honest manner, really highlighting to the viewer the grit, determination, and ambition Genghis Khan possessed to be able to unite all the Mongolian tribes. My biggest gripe with the film though is with the third act of this film, as Genghis Khan's rise to power is not effectively communicated to viewers. In one scene he is a struggling loner, and the next scene he is riding against the enemies at the head of a large Mongol horde, and it is due to some of these weaker plot elements that Mongol is held back from being one of the truly great films of the genre, but still an excellent film nonetheless. At number 8 it is The Lost Bladesman, a movie which depicts some of the extraordinary feats of Guan Yu, a legendary general under the warlord Liu Bei, an essential character mentioned in the Romance of the Three Kingdoms. This film stars Donnie Yen as Guan Yu, and he really does a fantastic job of bringing his character to life, embodying the loyal and honorable but strong-headed general in a realistic manner. This film utilizes the Three Kingdom era of Chinese history effectively and has some fantastic political intrigue, plot twists, and excellent swordsmanship skills on display. But if you're looking for large-scale epic battles and historical accuracy, I would give this film a miss or just readjust your expectations. But for anyone looking for a more simple film about a lone warrior who will go to any lengths to rescue his warlord, then The Lost Bladesman is my recommendation for you. But alternatively, if you are looking for a film that has huge scale battles and is an action driven film set during the Romance of the Three Kingdoms era, then Three Kingdoms Resurrection of the Dragon is my suggestion for you. As where The Lost Bladesman is about a single man's journey, this is a film which emphasizes huge 1,000-man battles and just lots of non-stop action. This movie depicts events from the viewpoint of Zhao Zilong, who is a lowly ranking officer but eventually rises to become one of the legendary 5 Tiger Generals who served under the warlord Liu Bei. This film does a fantastic job of showing how military life would be for all ranks of warriors in an ancient Chinese army. It also does a great job of utilizing military tactics and bringing huge scale battles to the big screen. But a huge critique of this film is the storyline is fairly weak, and at a certain point things occur that don't really make sense and are just happening to move the plot forward. So minus the issues with the plot and the pacing, The Three Kingdoms Resurrection of the Dragon is an amazing film to watch for anyone looking for an action-filled historical film. At number 6 we have White Vengeance, which is a film focusing on the Chu Han contention, an interregnum period between the fall of the Qin dynasty and the rise of the Han dynasty. This film sees 2 sworn brothers and warlords, Yang Yu and Lu Bang, pitted against one another by the Emperor while he uses the inner turbulence and turmoil to sneakily attempt to regain control of China. This film has an abundance of huge battle scenes and amazing use of military tactics and stratagems, making it a film that provides a sense of realism to battles rather than providing over-the-top action sequences. The two primary actors playing Yang Yu and Lu Bang Zhang Yu and Lu Bang are also amazing, but some of the secondary cast, especially the character of Yu Ji, who is the love interest of both the characters, is not utilized efficiently as the love triangle is not explored properly. But apart from some of the weaker character developments, if you're looking for a film which will keep the viewer engrossed from beginning to end and witness some masterful political and military tactics, then White Vengeance is my recommendation for you. At number 5, it is God of War, a Chinese historical war film which takes place during 1557, in which two generals, Yu Dao and Qi Zhigang, have to create a military strategy and a plan to rescue the coastal towns from fierce Japanese pirates who have made a coastal town their stronghold. The central plot of the film is based around General Qi not getting the support required to defeat the pirates from the Chinese army, therefore he is forced to recruit and build an army from the local villagers and farmers and train them in the art of war to have any chance of defeating the ruthless Japanese pirates. God of War has excellent battle scenes, strong character development for the Chinese generals and the Japanese samurai, and it also has a good mix of comedy, action and realism. A weaker point of this film though is the huge number of characters, which can make the movie jarring and confusing at times, as it is difficult to recall the significance of some of the characters on the screen. And the military politics also is not explored in enough detail. But if you're looking for a realistic, action-filled thriller with a strong plot and interesting characters, then God of War is my recommendation for you. At number 4, it is Hero, a 2002 Chinese Wu 6 film, which is based around Jing Kei's assassination attempt on the King of Qin in 227 BC, and features Jet Li as the primary character called Nameless and his fictional role in this failed assassination attempt. Hero holds the honor of being the first Chinese language film to take the #1 spot at the American box office, and it actually held this position for 2 weeks, an unheard feat for an international language film for that time. This film is just amazing, with many critics calling it one of the best Chinese historical films of all time, and with a stellar cast of primary and secondary actors, a strong and engaging storyline, and fantastic use of political intrigue and ambition, you can see why this is the case. There is a bit of issue with pacing at times, but that is my only small complaint about this film, as the martial arts and battle scenes of this film are unparalleled, displaying some truly awe-inspiring fight sequences. If you're looking for a film that will keep you engaged from beginning to end, with awesome fight sequences and strong plot points, then Hero is my recommendation for you. Third spot on this list goes to The Fortress, a South Korean historical drama which depicts the Second Manchu invasion of Korea in 1636, resulting in King Injo and his retainers having to find refuge in a remote and poorly stocked fortress. The central story is based around the court politics and intrigue for power that ensues as each advisor to the emperor tries to advise on the best way to deal with the invading King army. Some advisors are recommending the emperor surrender and become a vassal to the King Empire, but majority of the advisors are trying to influence the emperor to have an all-out battle and call for reinforcements and send the enemy running back from where they came. This is a unique film, as the emphasis here is more on court politics and the importance of words in a war rather than swords, resulting in majority of the film focusing on conversations between characters and the decisions made by nobility and their impact on the common folk. So if you're looking for a film which focuses less on large battles and action scenes and more on the small intricacies behind war, then The Fortress is my recommendation for you. The second spot on this list goes to The Admiral, Roaring Currents, a South Korean epic war film, which focuses on the famous battle of Myeongryang, which sees General Yi Sun-sin fighting a naval version of the Battle of Thermopylae against a Japanese Navy fleet numbering 330 ships with his own small force of only 13 ships. This film does a fantastic job of building General Yi's character as a reliable, experienced and fearless commander who is the last hope of the Joseon Empire from being overrun by the Japanese. This film has amazing naval battles, and the entire film plays out like an amazing action film, which really leads to massive battles which utilize unique and risky military tactics to keep the viewers on the edge of their seat, as defeat always seems to just be around the corner for the Joseon fleet. While this film does does a great job of displaying the amazing naval skills of the Korean Navy, the same cannot be said about the Japanese Navy, as the film does little to develop the antagonists and displays them as poorly skilled naval tacticians and sailors, which is not historically accurate. But apart from this minor critique, this film is a perfect viewing experience for anyone looking for an Asian version of 300 on the Sea. The top spot on this list goes to Red Cliff, the 288-minute complete version, not the 148-minute condensed version, as this is a two-part film with each part being approximately 140 minutes in length. But watching each individual movie is the best way to enjoy this film, as it gives you a complete understanding of the story that is taking place. Red Cliff is another film which takes place during the War of the Three Kingdoms in Imperial China. But what makes this film unique compared to other films covering the same historical period is that this covers the history from the fall of the Han Dynasty prior to the Three Kingdom War and develops the political background for these three kingdoms to be formed very effectively. This film utilizes a slowly paced story to effectively develop the characters of the film convincingly, while also giving a chance for the societal and political impact of the Three Kingdoms War on common folk to be viewed as well. And there are also some amazing battle scenes which will keep the viewer on the edge of their seats and gives them a good comprehension of what the stakes that are taking place. There are obviously going to be some issues with an epic film of this length, such as there being too many names and characters for viewers unfamiliar with the Three Kingdoms history to keep up with. But this is a small critique for a film of this magnitude. So if you're looking for a movie that you need to watch ASAP and what I would recognize as my favorite Chinese historical film of all time, then Red Cliff is my recommendation for you. Lastly, I just wanted to say thank you so much for watching this video, and if you did enjoy it, please do share, like, and subscribe to this channel, as I do post videos on historical TV shows and movies on a regular basis. Thank you so much for watching.